Alright, so in this video, I'm going to discuss if paper residencies could cause immigration fraud. This is very important to understand the consequences and the effects of collecting paper residencies and keeping paper residencies. Now, a lot of people who obviously are interested in RCBI options are often looking for flexible, straightforward, cheap backup options. It's not really the primary option, meaning they're not typically looking at going and residing there full time. For the most part, a lot of people are interested in collecting multiple residencies. A lot of people, I think if you put a percentage, more than half the people often ask about what are the paper residencies, what are flexible residencies. So I wanted to discuss what are the ramifications and where you need to be careful. But before I get started with this all exciting topic, or interesting topic, I would say, a quick disclaimer: this is not immigration or legal advice. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you turn on the bell notification and subscribe so you don't miss out on important updates and analysis on any of the programs. All right, so let's deep dive into it. It's very, very important, particularly to understand the meaning of a paper residency. Now, when I talk about paper residency, it could mean something different than what you might think of what a paper residency is. The way I like to look at it is that, or the way I see it, is that it is a flexible residency. Now, if you look at some of the residencies provided by the Western governments, if you look at the US GC or the Canadian PR, those are obviously residencies, permanent residencies, but they have a fixed number of days assigned to it. Now, if you live those amount of days, you should be fine. If you exceed those outside the country, you could very well lose your residency status and it can get invalidated. In case of the US, it's automatically invalidated. In case of let's say Canada, it can be nullified by the officer once they detect it. Typically, Western governments will enforce this kind of stuff because they don't want you to enjoy the benefits of the residency and not pay heavy taxes. So if you want to be a resident, then you better stay there for more than half the time and keep paying taxes to their governments. So while you enjoy the residency, they enjoy the monies. Taxes can run as high as 50%, up to a 50%. So half the money is going in paying them, and then you get to keep the residency permits. Now, as we discuss hidden gems, there are a lot of countries whose residency permits don't require you to stay there for a fixed duration, unlike, as I covered, US and Canada. Just a couple of examples: if you look at New Zealand, Australia, any of the Western developed nations will have hardcore residency requirements. So when you have nothing defined, if you misuse it, meaning use it as a pure back pocket card, and you tell them one thing and you do something different, is that going to be immigration fraud? Is that going to come and haunt you in future? It's very, very important to stay consistent with what you're telling immigration. So when you're obtaining this residency, you're giving some statements, right? Now, certain residencies will still have that 30-day requirement. So it's not like zero. When you say it's flexible, it doesn't mean that it's absolutely you just turn up on the day of renewal and you should be fine. And they have 30 days, in certain cases 60 days, in other cases 180 days of understood residency requirements. So that's why whichever program you're enrolling, it's very important to understand the way immigration looks at it, right? And when I said to be consistent, if you're giving them some statements, let's say you're doing Mexico, or let's say you're doing Panama, and then you're going, or let's say you're doing Paraguay, and you're going to the immigration and providing some statements, your activities or your behavior after, if it is not consistent with the reason why you got the residency, it could create problems for certain programs. So therefore, it is very important to discuss this based on past experiences or past cases. There's enough material available to guide you for each, for depending upon which program you're looking at. So if you have any doubts regarding, the presence that you should maintain, or let's say the statements that you have provided and how it would impact you if you can't make it, then you can always click the link in the description, book a call with us. We can discuss specifically the situation that you're in or you're looking forward to, and then we can obviously have the right discussion. If there's a complex situation or if there's anything that requires direct legal advice, then accordingly the legal expert can be contacted. We can obtain that information. Again, our discussion is educational and is based on experience, past experiences from what other people have done. As long as you're using your flexible or paper residencies effectively, correctly, wisely, and legally, you should be fine. If you are completely inconsistent, you've said something and then you go for renewals and your statements don't match, and the immigration wants to question you, your intentions, etc., and based on what you have done, what you have said, it could cause issues, in certain cases. You got to be careful. Now, a lot of these residencies don't stay forever, right? You had the Paraguayan PR. It was a permanent residency, 5K in your own bank account. They gave you a PR. It's a tax. It's one of the great places for tax benefits, and you had this for almost free, and too good to be true, kind of a PR for life. Was only a matter of time. It was going to be shut down. It got shut down. Now what happens is these Western countries, they want to extract taxes, rightfully in their opinion. So they don't like all these options when other countries are giving flexible residency, so their citizens can dodge around, play around. Now for countries that have citizenship-based taxation, those countries don't have to worry because they will always use that citizenship-based connection to extract taxes from their citizens. So they have no escape unless they take extreme steps like giving away or moving away or leaving and permanently and all of that. But they would often exert pressure on these smaller residencies so that either they stop these programs or start charging taxes, like you saw with Dubai. It entered on the FATF grey list. Now Dubai has rolled out a 9% tax program. The second time when they make changes is when they realize that they're giving something too good to be true, and these were designed historically for Westerners to come and spend their money. But now these programs are so cheap in today's day and age that people want these, right, for back pocket residency or plan B options. So they quickly detected this, and then they want to either charge a golden visa fee like with Paraguay. Now if you want to get the PR, 75K or more of investment, so they have obviously bumped up the price. They realize the value, so they will instantly make changes. Someone like Colombia, which provided great incentives for getting their program, now they have drastically put residency requirements in place. They have changed their programs. You got to be there at least once, a couple of times a year to save your PR. Plus, the program is no longer that attractive as it was before. Before you had a direct permanent residency, now that option is taken away. So countries will keep making such changes unannounced, and these options will keep going. Therefore, it is very important to take timely advantage of these options while they exist. Move fast, get these programs in place, get yourself locked into these programs so you don't have to worry. So in future, let's say you want to do a Mexican citizenship, you have that option locked in, right? To at least you're a resident, you're maintaining your residency, you're going to convert that into a permanent residence. You always have that option of getting that valuable citizenship. Same thing with Ecuador, same thing with Paraguay. Does not allow dual citizenship, so I'll keep that program completely aside. That's mostly for residency purposes, and a good option in place for future tax advantages if in case you wanted to kick that in. But there are other residencies which are very, very valuable and still very cheap that you can obtain, and then obviously you can convert to citizenship whenever the right time comes. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.